Hello and welcome to WeCrochet Facebook Live. We do these a lot of Tuesday mornings. We like to have coffee and crochet time. If you're brand new, if you're following along with us from maybe the Craft Yarn Council, or you're visiting us from our sister company, Knit Picks, WeCrochet is a new brand. We just got started in the last year. You can find us on crochet.com. It's a space entirely for crocheters. We've got just about everything you could need: yarn, hooks, incredible patterns. What else? Podcasts, these Facebook Lives, emails. If you want to get notified about when we have a Facebook Live or a podcast, sign up for our emails at crochet.com. And today we are so excited to be joined by Tian Connaughton, who is a giant in the craft industry. I'm sure many of you out there have worked with Tian. She's an expert knitter, an expert crocheter, and really a go-to resource for us here at WeCrochet on so many things. So welcome, Tian. It's so nice to have you today.
Hello and welcome, and thank you for having me here. I really appreciate you bringing me on today to talk about crochet, of all things. Yay!
Yay, crochet. So just a reminder for everyone, if you're still just joining us for the Facebook Live today, please comment along. If you have any questions for Tian as we're getting going, please leave those comments in the notes. We'll get back to you and answer them live. Another exciting thing we're doing today, we are giving away some issues of WeCrochet magazine issue 4. So we'll give you a time to comment towards the end, and we'll go through those comments and pick some lucky winners to win that magazine. But today we're mostly here to talk about Tian's work. It's an incredible body of work. But before we get started, since it is Coffee and Crochet, we do like to ask people how they take their coffee. But I know it's a bit later for you, Tian. Do you have a beverage on hand that you're enjoying while we stream?
I do. Water, of course, this giant bottle of water, because like you said, it's almost 11:30 here. And if I have coffee now, I'll be up all night because I'm an old lady.
I have to stick to my 1 cup. Absolutely. Otherwise, it's hard to sleep for sure. So Tian, can you tell us a little bit more about your crochet story? How did you get started crocheting? How did it become a part of your life? And knitting too, because you're also a fantastic knitter.
Absolutely. So like a lot of designers, I didn't learn to crochet when I was a kid. I learned only in 2001 from a coworker when I was working in corporate. From this older woman, she would be crocheting in the lunchroom and would be having conversation, and her fingers would just be going, right? And, after a couple months of just watching her just crochet, like, all these things, I got intrigued and I asked her to show me, and she did. So every day at lunch, we would run out to Walmart because it was close and that's all we knew. We would grab yarn and we would just make square things and rectangle things. We would make blankets, we would make scarves. And that's what we did for a long, long time. And in about a few years later, 2006-ish, I learned to knit. And that's what changed everything for me. I went from not just doing things according to the pattern, I wanted to change it up and put my own spin on things. And with the things that I learned in knitting, I was able to start designing and incorporate design for not just knitting, but also for crochet. So that's how it really started for me.
What a great way to, that's a fantastic thing to learn at work and to create such a bond with a coworker. That's so much fun. And so we often talk here about the differences between crochet and knitting. And of course, most of us are more into crochet than we are knitting. But do you have a favorite, or which one resonates the most with you, especially when it comes to designing?
So when I started, and my mother-in-law, who is an avid knitter, she would try to convince me to use these 2 sticks. Right? And I'm like, well, 1 hook works just as great. Yeah. And I resisted for so long. And then once I really understood, like, it's not so scary, it just kind of clicked for me. And I don't have a favorite. It's like saying which of my pets are the favorite or which of my kids are the favorite. Because in reality, each one have their own benefits. And you just, I like having both, because if I want to make a certain thing, I can go to crochet. And if I want to do a certain thing, I can go to knitting. And I can combine them if I want. So it's just great to have both in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. I am mostly a crocheter, but I knit too. And there are some things that you just have to knit. They just look better knitting. But you know, of course, if I can crochet it, I will try because that's my thing. But anyway, so you knit and you crochet for a long time. You got into designing. How did you make that transition into making it a business that
Okay, so
made you
again,
money?
back in corporate, I was commuting over an hour each way, and I would just think about all the things I wanted to knit and wish I could just sit in my car and knit for that hour or crochet. But obviously, you drive in, don't do it, right? And I would think about it all day, and I'd think about the project, and I couldn't wait till lunchtime to go work on that project. And then I would start coming up with my own ideas, and then I would do a self-published pattern, and then I would I'd submit like a pattern to a magazine or to a book, and it was just gradually like that. And then in 2012, I was laid off from corporate, which I thought, oh no, I have to not work in corporate anymore. And then I really, jumped right in and thought, could I do this as a full-time job? Could I make this a viable thing? And after, 8 years plus, that's what I'm doing full-time, is designing, tech editing, and now sharing my knowledge with other new and experienced designers to know that it is possible to make a full-time living doing work that you absolutely love.
Yeah. So a lot of the reasons we are so excited to talk to you today, Tian, is not only have you been an expert knit and crochet designer, but there are so many other things that you do as a part of your business. And one of the most inspiring things that you do is help other creative women, especially, make businesses that actually make money and can help sustain and support their families and their love and their passion for craft. And so what are all the things that you offer through your business? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, and the thing that we're seeing right now with the economy and everything that's going on, where people are just losing their jobs left and right, and it's just like coming out of nowhere. What I do is I support women, especially women of color, who wants to take this thing that they love, and I show them how I've done it, how I've taught other women to do it. And using my finance background and my business background, I've come up with training programs to really show women that it is possible if you have a plan in place, and a strategy and a brand, that you can do work that you love. And over a decade of doing this work and being in different positions within the industry, right? I've done tech editing, I've done designing, I've worked on the behind the scene kind of thing. All those skills that I've learned over the years, I'm taking it and showing other women how they can do what I've done and do it even better and faster with support to do the work that they are meant to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. So you do a lot of technical editing for us. So anyone who's been listening and following along with WeCrochet, Tian has actually been doing all the technical editing for every crochet pattern since before WeCrochet even was called WeCrochet. So she's been just a fundamental, instrumental part of building the crochet brand, and you do such an excellent job supporting women as well. So one of the courses that I know I have been most drawn to, that I'm dying to take, is your pattern grading course. So can you talk a little bit more about that course and what it entails, and other things like that you offer for people wanting to get into designing?
Sure. So speaking of that course, effective or starting November 1st, I'm changing up the way I do my business, right? I work with a lot of women in tech editing and through these one-off courses, where I really support them, but I want to do more. I want to be able to help them not just with this one piece of their business. I want to help them with like a lot of different pieces to be more cohesive in their business. So what pattern grading is me walking you through the process of grading a pattern for multiple sizes. So there's no more excuses that, oh, well, I don't know how to make a pattern that goes up to a 60 or 70 inch bust, because the resources are there. And when I say that I've changed up my business plan a little bit, now I'm putting all these resources into one place. It will all be inside of a membership program where it's for new and experienced designers who want to come in and get some support, get that roadmap of what to do next in their business, right? A lot of times we have a design idea and it's just like, oh, we have so many ideas. But what I'm teaching is how to focus in, how to narrow down, how to brand, how to create something that is going to be able to be something that sells over and over, something that reflects you as an individual, and not just teaching you one-off things, but I'm teaching you a lot of resources. I'm bringing a lot of resources together to help you as an individual to grow your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to take a quick break and read some comments that we have coming in, and then I want to circle back to some of the points that you just made. But so we've got some comments coming in through the Facebook Live. Hi, hello, and good morning from New York, Sacramento, California, Washington, Maple Park, Illinois, Cincinnati. Hello to everyone joining us from all of those places. Thank you so much. Orlando, Florida. Yay. Thank you all for joining us. Shelby Durston says, I am just so happy to know how to properly pronounce your name. Thank you for all of your patterns. So this was something I checked in with you, but will you say your name, Tian, just for everyone to?
Sure. It's Tian Connaughton.
Connaughton.
Yes.
And also, if you all check out Tian's podcast, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, you should definitely check that out. You can hear more from Tian and all the great business advice she has for creative women out there. There are lots of people sharing their coffee and crochet beverages. So Tian's got some water. I'm still working on my first cup of coffee. There's organic espresso out there, a matcha turmeric latte. That sounds super tasty. I'll have to try that. Someone boils their coffee, the water for their coffee with cinnamon sticks. I think we might have to have another coffee and crochet where we try out all these coffee drinks. Jeanette Eggers asked, how do you start with a design?
I start with an idea, an inspiration. It could be someplace I've been. If you've seen my last design, it's inspired by something that I'm passionate about, and it starts there. It could be me flipping through my Stitch dictionary and come across something and it just clicks with something else, and that's how the idea comes about. And then it's just sketching from there. And it's not pretty sketches. It's just me doing little squiggly things that make sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I sometimes just rough sketches and like starting to pencil through those numbers. And I do think it's always really interesting to hear people's design inspiration. As you said, something that matters to you, something that inspires you. There are a couple more questions here. Kitty Marsh asks, can you please give us the link for that pattern grading program? Yes, Kitty. I agree. It's the most exciting course. I'm excited to take it. We'll make sure to get the link to that course in the comments. So please keep following along. Is there anything else you wanted to share about that, Tian, before the next question?
Yeah, absolutely. With this program, or with this course rather, you'll learn how to use a spreadsheet, because that's how I grade, and that's how I show all my students how to grade, because one, it's faster. Two, it's more accurate. And if you want to change like the gauge, or you want to change a number, you don't have to go back and try to figure out where those numbers change throughout the whole thing. So make a change one place and it changes everything. And I show you formulas as well. So don't be afraid of spreadsheets, guys. And math is fun.
It is. Yes, definitely, Kitty. Check out that course. And totally, Tian, I'm signing up for it too, because I was grading a pattern this weekend and I just had like pages of like scribbled numbers. And I remember, I remember looking at your course and being like, Tian could help me do a better job at this. I need to touch base with Tian.
So when you asked before, how do I start with a sketch and then instantly with a spreadsheet.
Perfect. Brilliant. Spreadsheets are the secret. Everyone sign up for that class. Get Tian to share all her spreadsheet knowledge. I can't wait to learn myself. Awesome. Then Gloria asks, what other crafter groups are you associated with, Tian?
Ooh, not a lot. I do a lot of, I just started learning how to paint. So I do some of those.
Yeah.
I'm not very good, but that's
No,
okay.
I think,
It's not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be me doing something fun for me, and that's
yeah,
fine.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely. And
go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say a lot of Tian's work happens behind the scenes that I think a lot of people don't even realize or know. So she does a lot of work for us. I previously worked at Interweave, and I think Ian did some tech editing for Interweave. So a lot of the patterns that you're working with, Tian's probably had a hand in those, just so you know. Yeah. But what were you going to say? Sorry, I
No, I was
interrupted
just going
you.
to say, and also, I mean, with COVID, I can't really go out. So a lot of the things I
Yeah.
do have to be like this, with,
Mm-hmm.
I have some friends that I jump on with like wine and Zoom chats with on Fridays, and we just kind of hang out and catch up because that's
Yes.
how it is now.
Totally. I know, absolutely. Um, it's great to be able to connect digitally, even though it's not quite the same. But we'll get through. We'll get
We'll
back
get it. We'll
to
get there.
gathering.
It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
We save money by buying our own wine at home.
There we go. That's the way to look at it. That's the positive side. Um, Lydia says, Miami here. I love seeing women entrepreneurs who help empower other women to be entrepreneurs. And I totally agree. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Tian, for
Yeah,
the
and I
work that you
believe
do.
there's room for all of us. There shouldn't be like just
Mm-hmm.
one woman in a boardroom or one person of color in a room. There's enough room for all of us. So
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. So we have a few other questions, but before we get to those, I would like to touch base on exactly that point that you just made, Tian. Something that has also been just so fantastic about the work that you do is your support for BIPOC, so Black, Indigenous people of color, and the work that you do to help specifically women of color in the craft industry get to a point where they're making money with the work that they do. Can you talk a little bit more about the work that you've done in that area?
Sure. So I am, in fact, a Black woman, if you haven't noticed. And the work that I do is not just for Black women, it's for all women. But my focus and the initiatives of everything I do start at that point, what I want to see in the world. And when we look at the fiber industry, especially in past years where it hasn't looked very diverse. Even though when you go on social media and you go in other places, we see so much diversity and so much interest in designs. The thing that I want to see more of is more of those people that I see every day be more in publishing. I want to see them in magazines. I want to see them on your websites. I want to see them everywhere, not just the faces that we've always seen. So what I've done, or the idea I've come up with that I'm working with WeCrochet on, is this program, a series of videos where we're showing women, mainly women, men you can come too, but this is mainly for women to see how the publishing process works from step by step. We're going to go through, how to write a proposal, how to even, when the rejection come back, what to do after you cry, that's fine, what to do next, right? And if you do get accepted, what's the next process? How do you even work with a tech editor if you haven't before, right? And some of those things that we don't really think about is the things that I've seen a lot. I've worked with on the front end and the back end, and I want to show other women that these things are possible. And just to show these little things to build confidence. Because if you know how to write a proposal, of course you're going to be sending out proposal after proposal instead of just kind of sitting back and like, oh, well, maybe not. I'm not good enough. Because you are good enough. The work that you're doing deserves to be out in the world. So if you have an idea and you're thinking, hey, I want my work in WeCrochet or Interweave or in a book or wherever, hopefully this resource will help you to see some step-by-step processes of how to get there.
Absolutely. I think you and I have talked about this a little, and I'm so excited to keep working with you on this, with you really taking the leadership role here. But ultimately, there are a lot of, as you've pointed out, barriers to entry, to getting your patterns published. And a lot of that is just really centered around, it is kind of a complex process. And sometimes it's really helpful to take that peek behind the scenes, especially with people like you who have been doing the work for so long and kind of know all those secrets. Know that if you get your pattern rejected, it's not necessarily because your pattern isn't fantastic. There's so many other things that go into it. So I'm so excited to follow along with you with a lot of those videos and just kind of take that deep dive behind the scenes into what it takes to get published, and especially at WeCrochet, and especially the work that you do, Tian. It really is about community. I know you sign off, I think, every email with "a rising tide lifts all boats," and every time I get an email from you, I'm like, I just get such warm, happy feelings from that phrase. Yeah, it really, the work that you do is so meaningful. And so we're so excited to continue learning more from you as the year progresses and get started on that project. We do have a few more questions here. Let's see. Kate Hammett. So Kate's actually one of our test crocheters. She says, "Oh my God, I did the same thing this weekend. Worth it just for the spreadsheets." I think she's talking about your pattern grading course. Yes, it is worth it just for the spreadsheets. 100%. Kimberly Ann says, "Oh yay, Knits by Tian. I follow you on Instagram. I've made some of your shawls." Yes, yeah, Tian has some incredible patterns out there. Go check them out. Kitty Marsh says, "Can you be a designer even if as a crocheter you're not an expert? I've crocheted since my elementary days, but all I do are doilies and pot holders with my mom. But now I have ideas beyond those two things." So do you have any tips, Tian, for someone like Kitty who's kind of been doing crochet for a while, but she just wants to take it to that next level?
Simple, just do it.
Yeah.
Even if you've just learned to crochet last week and you have an idea, just do it. And hopefully with the pattern partnership program, you can come in and ask specific questions if you do want to pursue that, but just do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's really nothing to lose, right? If you have an idea and you think that someone else might like the idea, chances are they will.
Yes, absolutely.
Learn the fundamentals of pattern writing and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, go check out Tian's classes. They're so good. Go check them out. Okay. Gloria says, "I live in NYC and she's a member of the Harlem Needle Arts for Black women and women of the diaspora. It's powerful, the history, diaspora. Sorry, mispronounced that. It's powerful, the history of craft and design. I applaud you, Tian." So thank you, Tian. Yes. Now I think there's we're getting some questions, and I have these questions too. We'd love to hear more about the top you were wearing, Tian, and then the project that is on the dress form behind you. There's a lot of curiosity about those projects.
So the top I'm wearing is a new knit release. It's called the 32 Market Street tee. If you go on Ravelry, you'll see a little bit of the history about how this pattern came about. I talk about that a lot on Instagram. I talk about that a lot everywhere because, like I said, inspiration for my designs come from somewhere. And when you go and read what I've written, you'll see exactly where that came from. So this is the 32 Market Street tee. And that pattern is my Wingdale. It's a crochet shawl. Well, it's a shawl cowl. I'll take it off for you. There it is.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
As a simple triangular shawl, and then it's joined to work in the round.
Oh, cute.
Simple. So it's a cowl.
How fun.
And I just finished this weekend a crochet version in Knit Picks yarn, which isn't that gorgeous? Look at that.
That's so pretty. Do you remember which yarn you used?
I'm sorry?
One skein. Do you remember which yarn?
It is the Stroll Gradient and Ice Sculpture.
Ooh, I love Stroll Gradient, and it is so perfect for that project. It looks so good.
there it is.
Oh, lovely. Oh, we'll be sure to get links added in the comments to all of those projects that you mentioned. So for all you knitters out there and crocheters too, you can make those patterns. And that 32 Market Street top is the project that is also pictured in, if you signed on to the Facebook Live and got that notification and saw the picture of Tian, that's the top she's wearing in that picture. So some of you were asking there, it is a gorgeous top, absolutely. All right. Yes. And Margot did ask, is that your Market Street design? So confirmed it is. Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, we are getting close to the end of our time. Were there any more current projects or things that you're working on, Tian, that you wanted to share with the audience today?
Yeah. I made this hat, which is called the Obia hat. And this is in, let's see, Mitchell's creation. And this is done for Knit Stars.
Yes. So tell us more about your time on Knit Stars and what that has entailed.
So Knit Star, that was scary.
Yeah.
But it was a day or two of them coming in and filming me doing a workshop. And the workshop is around things that I talk about here today, grading and being inclusive and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So registration for Knit Star is now closed, but it will be open again next year. But the thing I love about this hat is this top, this very square top.
Oh, that is lovely.
So that's my favorite thing right now. And then the next thing I'll be working on, if you have time, will be I'll be making another version of my Lucia hat, and it will be in that.
Ooh, that's lovely.
Muse. Yeah.
Oh, I love Muse, and that hat. Oh, I'm trying.
It's crochet and it's worked sideways.
Oh, and then so like back and yes. Oh, how cool.
So make it as big or as little as you need it to be.
That's perfect. And you can kind of try it on as you go then probably too, which is always helpful. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. So if y'all want to hear more from Tian, we do have an article from Tian coming up in our next issue of WeCrochet magazine. And I'm trying to remember if we included the picture for that hat pattern in the article. I can't remember now, but follow along. We'll link in the comments to that pattern, and we'll get you over to make that awesome pattern. I love that top. The top of the square top looks great. Yeah. Yes.
I'll be using it a lot more on more patterns.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good idea. So Tian, for people who want to follow along with you, see all the stuff that you're up to, get more business tips, tricks, learn more about grading, where are all the places that people can find you out in the internet world?
So the main place is my website is tianconnaughton.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, but if you go to my website, you can find me everywhere from there.
Awesome.
And I share a lot on Instagram. So if you like learning and me to talk smack to you and tell you to go do the thing, then follow me there at Tian Connaughton. No, it's at Knit Design by Tian.
Yeah. So definitely follow along with Tian on Instagram. And as I mentioned before, Tian also has a podcast that I enjoy listening to. You could go check that out. We do have a few final questions before we say goodbye. And then we have the pattern or the crochet magazine giveaway to talk about as well. So let's see. Tonya says, I'm very interested in selling patterns and know that connecting with a tech writer tester is key. What is the going rate? That's pretty variable.
It depends. Yeah, it varies.
Yeah.
Just do your research and find someone who you really connect with, because you might find someone whose price you like, but you really don't jive. So just don't be afraid to kind of check people out and talk to them and ask questions. Yeah,
that's such good advice. It really is a partnership and a back and forth, getting a pattern edited and tech edited. Absolutely. Kitty Marsh says, speaking of yarn, how do you choose the best yarn for a certain design?
A swatch. I know people are gonna hate me for that, but swatching and not just a little chintzy swatch, guys. I post this on Instagram. I mean, a big swatch where you can actually see what's going on with the stitches and with the fabric and everything else.
Totally. I know we push swatches so hard. We push checking gauge so hard. And it's such an easy thing to skip, but you're right. Like it makes such a difference. Absolutely.
And it's more stitching time.
Yeah. It's calm, meditative.
Exactly. You're just kind of just playing.
Totally. And then Gloria has a question. Where do you buy your yarns? What are the best places and the best prices?
Everywhere and anywhere. Knit Picks, WeCrochet, indie designers, indie dyers, wherever. Yeah. And I have a lot of yarn behind me.
I know.
And it's just a matter of swatching and see what goes with the pattern I'm thinking about. So
totally. And definitely, just if you see a yarn that you like, just grab a skein and try it, make a swatch as Tian suggested. Yeah. And then Kitty has a final question. Is choosing the right yarn also included in the program?
It's pretty much what I just said. It's about swatching.
Yeah.
Because there is no wrong yarn. It's just if the pattern doesn't match with the stitches, then that's the thing. That's
such a good point. It's never a wrong yarn. Maybe the wrong yarn for the pattern you're trying to create. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We love all yarns here.
We so do. It's so true.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be wool or acrylic or anything. It's just finding the right yarn for that right project.
Absolutely. So to wrap up, we did promise at the beginning, so I think we're going to pick 3 winners to get WeCrochet magazine issue 4. It's got a lot of content in there, 24 patterns that I think are all pretty awesome, all of them tech edited by Tian. So if you want to be entered to win this magazine, add a comment into this live stream video, put the word Tian in there, Tian, so we know that you've been listening the whole time, and comment with the course or the instructional program that you would like most to follow along with Tian on. So pop on over to her website, take a look, come back to this Facebook, put Tian's name, Tian, in the comments, and then the course that you're most excited to learn from Tian on. So, and we'll get 3 people drawn and get this sent your way. And then also we're so close to releasing the next issue of the magazine, which does feature an article all about Tian in there. So please be sure to check that out. Again, we're WeCrochet. This is probably going to be our last Facebook Live for the year, but we do have a podcast that comes out every other week, and our next release is going to be this Friday. Check out crochet.com. We've got some patterns from Tian up there, but also check out her website. We've got that linked in the comments. I think that's it. Tian, any final thoughts, final words?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. When you first reached out and said 8 a.m., I was like, 8 a.m.? Is that a real time?
Yeah.
I don't get up that early. That's part of being an entrepreneur. You don't have to get up at 8 a.m. So if you do want to start your own business, that is a perk. I start at 9 sometimes.
Perfect. That's perfect. I know you, yes, you have struck such an inspiring work-life balance, doing something that you really love, and also really inspiring others to do the same and helping them be successful at it. So we're so grateful to have you on today, to have you share your knowledge and the work that you do. And thank you all so much for joining us at a Coffee and Crochet with WeCrochet, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.